Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Fun Day. We have, this is so special to me because it's going to be life-changing to me, and hopefully it's going to be life-changing for you or for somebody in your family or somebody you know. We got an icon today, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. I mean, this is an icon, and he's right now in the basement, as we call it, on YouTube, and wow. But first, we have a special co-host. It's Dr. Paula Ruffin. She's one of the most sought after health and wellness coaches speakers. She's the founder of the New Hudson Chiropractic Wellness Center and a CEO of Buddha for Play, which is a personal moisturizer for women. For 25 years, her holistic approach to health restoration through custom nutrition coaching and spinal balancing has transformed lives. Her goal is to inspire people to stop being spectators of their declining health. Get off the sidelines, take action, and maximize your health span so they can squeeze out all the greatness life has to offer. So welcome in, Paula, Dr. Paula Ruffin.
What a great introduction. Thank you, Joe. I'm so excited to be here today. And did not expect that great introduction because we have another incredible introduction coming up that you guys are going to be blown away when we get to this.
It is definitely life-changing, and we've been talking. It's going to be life-changing to me because I need to change my health, and so this is so exciting. So welcome in, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. So welcome in, Doctor. We sound good?
Thank you, Joe.
Yes.
Yeah, here we go. Good.
If I can make one correction, the name is Dr. Esselstyn.
Oh, it's the speech impediment.
So just pronounce it like it's spelled. Yeah. I know it's a tongue twister, and I apologize, but that's the way it goes.
Now, people call you Essie too, right?
That's right. That's short for Esselstyn.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. And you have a lot of people pronounce your name wrong, like I just did.
And before, yes. All right.
I've been saying that name for a while, and Esselstyn. It's like, I don't know. Anyway, Doctor, your bio is amazing. Your life, when we look around, if we look like Forrest Gump and him going through history, your history and your family's history has been like, it's more than just a book. It's like, it's a huge encyclopedia of like, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe this happened. I can't wow, he did this, he did that, he did this, he did that. And it's a whole entire family. And right now, with your plant-based diet, it's a life changer for everyone. And it's amazing. So I'm going to read a little bit about your bio for everyone quick. And we're going to ask some questions off the beginning of your bio. And we're going to go more to questions. If you have any questions in the chat, we're going to make sure we save them to later on. So, okay. So you were born in 1933 to Dr. Caldwell Blakeman Esselstyn Sr. and Lillian Meyer. His father was a prominent physician who consulted JFK for setting up Medicare and was the personal physician for Lou Gehrig. Now, did you ever meet Lou Gehrig?
Yes.
And how old were you at that time?
I was 7 years old.
Wow. Yeah. And what was it like the first time you guys met? Like, how did you meet?
First and only time, but okay. I was in class at school where my teacher said, get my jacket. I was go to the end of the walk where in his car, your father is waiting to speak with you. So I had no idea what this was going to be about. But when I got down there, my father was standing there with this big, tall, handsome fellow, and he said, I'd like you to meet my friend, Mr. Lou Gehrig. And I shook his hand, and that was kind of exciting, even for a 7-year-old. But yeah, no, Gehrig was somebody that my father had great respect for, but felt, I think, all over the years, felt extremely frustrated that we really had no cure for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, which is what took the life of Lou Gehrig.
That's what I was going to ask was, was there any talk at that point in time of dietary intervention, or,
No,
was it just
no,
it was this new unknown thing?
that was 1939, 40. No, no, this
Yeah,
was,
I didn't think so, but
this was the dark ages as far as that was concerned. Yeah.
so that had to feel a little helpless at that point in time, just to
Well,
watch.
well, not for me, because at age 7, I really had no idea how sick he was. Yeah.
Wow. Now, was your father home all the time, or was he all? Was there an office to go to? Like, what? How did everything work with as a
Well,
kid, with your dad?
after my father finished his training as a general surgeon at Columbia, he stayed in New York City for about 7 years, and then moved to start a clinic in upstate New York, out in Hudson, New York, because he had a great feeling that in a rural county like Columbia County, New York, in 1945, there was really very little in the way of any specialty medical care. It was almost all the doctors were mostly general practitioners who had 1 year postgraduate training. And he wanted to establish a clinic, which he did, which had the various specialties of radiation, OBGYN, psychology, and really it was in pediatrics. It was really rather interesting then to spread these branch offices throughout the county, because it was determined that in a community medical facility that has a pediatrician and a dentist and a general internist can take care of 82% of the medical needs of a community. So the idea obviously was to try to persuade physicians who had board certification or board eligibility to be able to find growth and having their practice in a rural upstate area was the entire goal.
And now you went to Yale University. Your dad went there too, right?
Yes.
Wow. And is that when you started to start the row?
No, my freshman year, I wandered around a little bit looking for a sport, and it was my roommate who, during our freshman year, found great joy in rowing and persuaded me in my sophomore year to go out for rowing, which I did for the remainder of my undergraduate days at Yale. Yes.
How long from your undergraduate days till you went to the Olympics?
Well, when I was a senior, to find out the crew that is going to represent the United States of America in the Olympic Games, they have a contest called the Olympic Trials. And we had a very exciting spring season of rowing, and we were able to win all but one of our races, which put us in the top echelon of the Olympic Trials. And then in the Olympic Trials, we were successful in beating all the crews. There's an interesting story that our wonderful coach, I think I'd like to share with you. When we were at the Olympic Trials, a day or two before the trials began, we were out on the water practicing, when back at the headquarters, the other coaches had put in a revision request, because they said that in the first heat, Yale had a distinct advantage, and it was a little bit unfair. So while we were still out on the water with our coach, when we got back in and unloaded, a reporter came up to it and said to our coach, Coach Rashmit, are you aware that while you were out on the water, they have changed the seating so that you're now no longer in the group that you were with? And Jim Rashmit, who was a wonderful man, looked at the reporter and said, well, when we came here to row, our intention was to beat everybody, and I really don't care in what order we do it. So the trials began, and we were victorious. And so we went to Australia to compete in the Olympics.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. When you guys won the race and found that, because everybody has to row, when did you find that? Were you like the first race, the last race? Was it combined? Like, how did it all work out? Or no, you all do it together. You all race at the same time, correct? Like, how many?
No. What you do is you have first when you go to the Olympics, you have a trial, and you have your first event, and there'll be four crews in that event.
Okay.
And another event and so forth. And the winners will go on to the semifinal. And then but that is the two winners who go to the semifinal. Then of those four, you end up eventually with the winners being in the final. And in the final were Sweden, Australia, Canada, and the United States.
Okay.
Yeah. But
where's your medal? What do you?
Behind me, going up the stairs.
I hope it's not in a box somewhere. Like,
no. We still, for many years, we had a reunion together until the Mother Nature began to thin out the group with passage of time, and there are three of us who still are living.
That's amazing. Now,
so I'm curious with training. I mean, again, like just looking at the evolution of your career and your life and where you are today and what you teach about health and wellness. What did that look like when you were in school, when you were training? Was it just, was there any awareness of we should be eating a certain way when we're training for this Olympic event, or was that just college?
The light didn't even begin to dawn on that concept.
It wasn't even flickering.
No, not until I finished my tour in the Army. I was a combat surgeon, and in Vietnam. After I finished my training, and then when I finished my tour in Vietnam, I was then offered a position at the Cleveland Clinic in the Department of General Surgery, which I accepted. And it wasn't until I was, I would say, my second or third year in the clinic, when I was chairman of our breast cancer task force, that I began to become increasingly disillusioned with the fact that for no matter how many women I was doing breast surgery, I was doing absolutely nothing for the next unsuspecting victim. And this led me to do a bit of global research, and it was quite striking to find that there are multiple cultures on the planet where cardiovascular disease is 30 and 40 times less frequent, where breast cancer rates are 30 and 40 times less frequent than in the United States. And if you look at even something like rural Japan in the 1950s, breast cancer was very infrequently identified. And yet, as soon as the Japanese women would migrate to the United States by the second and third generation, they now had the same rate of breast cancer as their Caucasian counterpart. And even more striking, perhaps, was cancer of the prostate. In the entire nation of Japan in 1958, how many autopsy-proven deaths were there from cancer of the prostate? 18. The most mind-boggling public health figure I think I've ever encountered. And yet by 1978, 20 years later, they were up to 137, which really pales in comparison to the 28,000 men who will die from prostate cancer in this country. So nutrition began to raise its head pretty strongly, because I was noticing that as I was doing this research, it was quite striking to find that there are multiple cultures where cardiovascular disease and heart attacks were almost virtually non-existent. And that was really quite striking to me, because I felt that if we could have a way that we could get Americans who well know that the leading killer of women and men in America is really cardiovascular disease, if we could get people to start to eat to save their heart, they would in all likelihood markedly diminish the likelihood of encountering the common Western cancers of breast, prostate, colon, and pancreatic, perhaps.
And then when was that? So how did you then start to, did you
1979.
start having conversations then with your patients, and
No,
what did that look like?
no, nothing. Well, nothing really is going to hold water. You just can't tell people to, change the way they're eating. You have to document it with some research. So I got in touch with the Department of Cardiology, and I was able to, since I was still very actively committed to my surgical practice, the study was going to have to, by necessity, be a small one, but it was going to be patients who were seriously ill with heart disease, and see if we couldn't get them to really eat whole food, plant-based nutrition, and see if we couldn't halt any progression of the disease or perhaps even reverse it.
Was this correlating with the rise in use of the seed oils like Crisco, like all of this was,
Yeah, all of that could be certainly tied into it. Yes, the oils and all that sort of saturated fat were pretty vicious, because when you go to if you look at countries like rural China, Okinawa, Central Africa, and so forth, before they became westernized, cardiovascular disease was virtually non-existent, and they certainly didn't have Crisco.
Now, before we get into that, since we're getting into that right away, tell everybody what your approach to heart disease, like what's different, like let everybody know, like an introduction of your treating heart disease.
Well, after we were able to show with that first group that indeed it was quite possible, when patients were willing to make a transition to whole food, plant-based nutrition, not only were able to halt any progression of their disease, but we often saw examples of disease reversal. And as we made some movies and wrote about this in the scientific literature, and people who would go to the internet and some of these social media would find out what we had done, they began coming to be part of what we do even today, which is a intensive counseling seminar every month or two that I take about 20 to 30 people who have a history of heart disease and see if we can't get them to understand how we can empower them as the locus of control to halt and reverse their disease. Now, do you want to know how we do that?
Yes.
Do tell. I find one of the most challenging things is changing the mindset of people who say they want something but just won't take it.
Actually, it doesn't seem to be too hard now. It was maybe when we started, but I think it helps when people look you up on the internet and they see examples of disease reversal and they see what has been scientifically. Suddenly, what you've got is a rock solid reputation or foundation for science that's been effective. So that's a good starting point. Now, the other thing is that I'm a little bit compulsive about wanting patients to understand how the disease is created. That's so important for them to get their arms around and really grasp, because with all due respect to my cardiovascular colleagues, the challenge today is that none of the drugs that cardiology uses, none of the stents and none of the bypass operations have one single solitary thing whatsoever to do with the causation of the illness. If you're going to get the disease to stop in its tracks and reverse, the patients have got to make a very significant change. And all experts would agree that where this disease has its inception, its onset, its beginning, is when we progressively injure the life jacket and the guardian of our blood vessels, which happens to be that delicate innermost lining of the artery called the endothelium. And it is the endothelium that manufactures a truly magic molecule of gas called nitric oxide that is responsible for the salvation, preservation, and protection of all of our blood vessels, because of the remarkable function that nitric oxide possesses. For example, nitric oxide will keep all the cellular elements within our bloodstream flowing smoothly like Teflon rather than Velcro. It keeps things from getting sticky. Number two, nitric oxide is the strongest blood vessel dilator. When you climb stairs, the arteries to your heart, the arteries to your legs, they widen, they dilate. That's nitric oxide. Number three, nitric oxide will protect the wall of the artery from becoming thick and stiff or inflamed and protect us from getting high blood pressure or hypertension. Number four is the absolute key. A safe and normal amount of nitric oxide will protect us all from ever developing any blockages or plaques. So literally, everybody on the planet Earth who has cardiovascular disease has their disease because by now, in the previous decades, they have so sufficiently trashed, injured, compromised, and turned their endothelial system into a train wreck that they no longer have enough nitric oxide to protect themselves from making blockages and plaque. However, the good news is this is not a malignancy. It's a benign foodborne illness. And once you can get patients to understand that never, ever, ever again are they to pass through their lips a single morsel that is going to further injure an already train-wrecked endothelium, because then the endothelium will recover, make enough nitric oxide so we can halt disease progression, and we often will see elements of disease reversal. Now, what are the foods that every time they pass your lips, you injure the endothelial cells? They are, one, any drop of oil, olive oil, corn oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, coconut oil, palm oil, oil in a cracker, oil in a chip, oil in a piece of bread, oil in a salad dressing. Joe, do you ever eat oil?
Yes. I have plenty. I have mayo, olive oil, all the things they should not be using.
Joe,
I've been using it.
Joe, you did eat oil.
Yes.
You did eat oil. Also, we want to eliminate, see, the foods I'm giving you now are those that trash and injure your endothelial cells. Second, we got to eliminate animal protein. So meat, fish, chicken, fowl, turkey, and eggs, gone. Also, we want to eliminate dairy, milk, cream, butter, cheese, ice cream, and yogurt. Also, we want to eliminate sugary drinks, Diet Cola and Pepsi, and sugary foods, cakes, pies, cookies, stevia, agave, excesses of maple syrup, molasses, and honey. And I do not like nuts, peanuts, peanut butter, nut butters, cashew sauce, and avocado. Too much saturated fat. And finally, get rid of coffee with caffeine. Decaf, yes. Black tea, yes. Green tea, yes. Coffee with caffeine, no. Injures endothelial cells. Now, what are you going to eat? You're going to eat all these marvelous whole grains for your cereal, bread, pasta, rolls, and bagels. 101 different types of legumes, lentils, and beans. All these marvelous red, yellow, green leafy vegetables, white potatoes, sweet potatoes, and some fruit. Still with me?
I'm with you.
All right. Now, and we have somebody, Joe, like yourself, who's carrying extra weight and probably has a degree of hypertension and maybe pre-diabetic. Those are killers. You got to get those patients cleaned up. You got to get rid of their obesity, got to get rid of their hypertension. Best way to do that is to have them eat this kind of food and lose weight. Now, if I take away your olive, if I take away your oil, if I take away your animal protein, I take away your dairy, and yes, you can have whole grains, but in your case, and anybody who's carrying the extra weight, we want them, until they get to their ideal weight, we want them to eliminate products that are made of flour. Because when you take a grain, and you grind it into flour, you destroy the nutritive value. And the flour manufacturers know this. So they'll label their product enriched. And what you're getting is lousy nutrition and a lot of empty calories. So if people will eliminate the flour along with the other things until they hit their ideal weight, then they can gradually reintroduce it, but cut it back again if they start to regain the weight. But it's now, I should share with you that about a decade ago, I made a significant change in our program. And that change was based upon the fact that the endothelial production of nitric oxide is age dependent. All right. Age dependent. You never heard of a boy or a girl at age 8 having a heart attack, right? No. They have nitric oxide coming out of their ears. But by the time they're beautifully healthy at age 50, beautifully healthy, they now have 50% of the nitric oxide they had when they were age 25. By the time you're 80, you've lost 70%. So the changes I made were two. One, a greater stimulation of the endothelial production of nitric oxide. And number two, we embrace the newer research that shows us that mankind has an alternate pathway for making additional nitric oxide. All right, how are you going to do that? Here we go. I need you to chew, not smoothies, not juicing. I need you to chew 6 times a day a green leafy vegetable that is approximately the size of 1/3 to 1/2 a cup after it has first been steamed or boiled 5.5 to 6 minutes, so it's nice and tender. And then you must anoint it with several drops of either a delightful balsamic or rice vinegar. Why? Because research has shown us that these acetic acids from these vinegars can restore the nitric oxide synthase enzyme contained within the endothelial cell and responsible for making nitric oxide. So you're going to chew this alongside your breakfast cereal, again as a mid-morning snack, again with your luncheon sandwich. That's 3, mid-afternoon 4, dinner time 5, and of course I adore it when you have that evening snack of arugula or kale. Now the second benefit from chewing the green leafy vegetable, it restores the capacity of your bone marrow to once again make the endothelial progenitor cell, okay, which will replace our senescent, injured, worn out endothelial cells. Everything okay?
My dog knocked the laptop off the chair. He's always getting into trouble when I'm on the live. So
the third benefit from chewing, when you're chewing the green leafy vegetable, you are also chewing a green nitrate. As you chew the green nitrate, it is going to mix with the facultative anaerobic bacteria that reside in the crypts and grooves of your tongue. Those bacteria are going to reduce the nitrate that you've been chewing to a nitrite. And when you swallow the nitrite, it is your own gastric acid, which is going to further reduce the nitrite to more nitric oxide, which can enter your nitric oxide pool. So think about it. What you're doing for minimal expense, no side effects, literally all day long, dawn to dusk, morning to night, you are absolutely restoring nitric oxide, the very molecule, the deficiency of which gave you this disease in the first place. Now, there's a caveat to this. Toothpaste with fluoride or public drinking water with fluoride and mouthwash will injure the beneficial bacteria in your mouth. And I do not like antacids because antacids will lower your gastric acidity and you will be unable to reduce the nitrite to more nitric oxide. Now, the top 6 are kale, Swiss chard, spinach, arugula, beet greens, and beets. Now, if you'd like the entire group, it goes like this. Bok choy, Swiss chard, kale, collard green, beet greens, mustard green, turnip greens, Napa cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, cilantro, parsley, spinach, and arugula and asparagus. And the reason I go through those lists with you is you have to know how also whole food, plant-based nutrition can do wonderful things for your memory.
And I feel like I should say, and a partridge in a pear tree. That's great. Have you made a song out of that? I really think you need to make a song out of that. Well, I'll tell you, one of my favorite things in my garden is to go out there and just pick the arugula and just eat it as I'm walking through the garden.
Let me just say one follow-up to this, because obviously this is a significant lifestyle change from the horrible Western diet, which is such a killer. But how are you going to get patients to stay with it? They stay with it when they understand. When every one of the patients in my group every time has to understand the reason they have their illness is because they, not their genes, not their stress, they themselves, through the food they've eating, have destroyed the endothelial capacity to make sufficient nitric oxide. All right. Now, why are we running about a 90% adherence in the last time we looked up this group? And that's just very exciting because it really, I think, shows that when you are willing to take the time, for instance, if you're going to have a patient understand this, you're not going to do it in 10 or 15 minutes in the office. This often will take the patient, we give them about, I have a personal relationship of about 60 minutes with these patients so they can understand it. I say pretty much to them what I've just shared with you. And, but it goes further than that. If they sign up for our seminar, in addition to a personal phone call with me explaining this, the seminar itself starts at 8 o'clock in the morning and goes till about 2:30 to 3 o'clock. So it's close to 6 hours. And they're going to learn all about how they created their disease and precisely how we are going to be able to empower them as the locus of control to halt and reverse it.
There's so much to take in.
I know. I'm like digesting. Yeah. So, it's amazing. I know. Really, let's break that down a little bit. So I want to go back to when you were talking about nuts, and I guess we'll just talk about nuts for a minute. So with that, I mean, don't we need some kind of saturated fat in our diets? Isn't that?
Well, yeah, we all have to have fat, and this is not a no-fat diet. Yeah, there's fat in everything that I mentioned. There's fat in when you think about it, and what are the foods that I've asked you to have? There's fat in whole grains. There's fat in legumes. There's lentils and beans. There's fat in vegetables. There's fat in lettuce. There's fat in potatoes. I mean, then we've been doing this now for 34 years, and we have yet to identify any fat deficiency that I'm aware of. But I think your point is well taken. Yeah.
So it's great. Thank you. I appreciate that. The other thing too with this is I think it's going to be really easy for people to hear this and then say, oh, I'm plant-based, and off they go to buy Beyond Burgers and all of the processed food that comes with that. So can you just speak to that a little bit? And
you have to read ingredients, and when you start looking at the ingredients and what is it? Something about it's more than meat, or what the heck is it? One is the Impossible Burger. The other one is Beyond Meat.
Beyond Meat, yeah.
Beyond Meat, yeah. They have killers. They have oil. That doesn't work.
No, and all the fake chicken nuggets, the plant-based chicken. I feel like the food industry is just taking advantage of it. As long as they put plant-based in front of it, it's okay for people.
You don't eat processed food, right?
Right. Yes, I agree.
So some people in this chat might say, my health is excellent. Why should I change my diet? What do you have to say to that?
Well, I mean, you simply would say, first of all, when you say your health, let's back up for a minute. In 1951, during the Korean War, when combat casualties, average age 20, had an autopsy, 80% of that age group already had gross evidence of coronary artery disease you could see without a microscope. Not enough for their cardiac event yet, but there was already at that young age started. That study was then repeated 45 years later, this time looking at young men and women between the ages of 17 and 34 who had died of accidents, homicides, and suicides. Now, early coronary artery heart disease is ubiquitous. So if you're speaking to somebody who's been eating a typical diet and they're over the age of 17, you know that they've got early heart disease if they got hit by a bus and were autopsied. Yeah. No, you don't have to have your cardiac event. Maybe even though it starts when you're a late teenager, you don't have to have your heart attack or a cardiac event really until you're 65 or 70, right?
True.
I was reading, I was reading about your son also. So he's, of course, I've seen him in around in different media, and the two of you have really done so many great things in the world of health and wellness. And one of the things that I love to teach is the legacy. So was this did it's I was trying to put the timeline together as far as when he started to eat more of a plant-based diet, and when you started to really adopt these teachings. So did the two of you like team up and say, hey, let's go forge new ground and change the world?
No, Rip did this all on his own. He saw the results that we were getting. He was quite fascinated. He had started life after being a professional triathlete. He then became a fireman for 12 years. Then he was hired by John Mackey to be an ambassador for Whole Foods. And then after that, he transitioned really into his own food line, which is called Plant Strong, where many of the patients who are trying to eat plant-based can find delicious preparations which are safe and so forth.
And you guys can, in Esselstyn Foundation, he's right. I'm going to show you guys something on here for you guys. So I want you guys to check this out. So here's the Esselstyn Foundation, and they have tons. They have videos. If you look here, you have the story about their family, their team, resources, videos. I mean, there's so much great information on this page, on his site, guys. I really recommend you guys check this out. Let me see the videos for a second. So treating the cause, just like a doctor's talking about right now. Isn't that a great picture? That's Jane and Ann.
That's great.
Thank you.
I absolutely love that picture. There's so much information that you guys share throughout everything in here, and what your foundation does. I mean, you're not just helping a million people; you're helping a lot more. You're helping the world.
Well, as social media is a remarkable instrument, isn't it?
It is amazing. So let me stop using that. So please go check out that page, guys. I really appreciate it. And so talking about your wife, how did you guys meet?
Well, long story short, my father, and while he was at Yale Medical School, he was earning a little money on the side by coaching freshman football, and who was one of the players there but Ann's father. They got to be friends. And so when my father heard that I was going to go to medical school out in Cleveland, he said, be sure you look up Dr. Barney Cryle, my wife's father. And I did, and that led to an opportunity to meet Ann, and the rest is history.
That was that.
And going back a little bit before we go.
Right place at the right time.
Yeah, right. Timing's
How
everything,
long have you
right?
been married?
61, 62 years.
And this was a joint venture for the two of you, right? She didn't look at you and say, you're crazy, I'm not doing that. She dove right in.
I never could have done this without Ann.
Nice.
Talk a little bit about your farm too.
Well, it's been in the family since I think it was 1775 or thereabouts, and it's when I was growing up, we had Aberdeen Angus beef cattle and a dairy. Well, it was a little sort of a dark period of our farm when I think about it in hindsight, that we were raising crops that were absolutely destroying people's lives. And so we, right now, we still rent some of the houses, and we rent the fields to a wonderful organic farmer.
What's he growing on there?
Largely, it's been grains and hay. Yeah, it's too far from his base of operations to grow vegetables, but it's nice to see it being effective and in good hands.
Now, what do you have a garden now? Because, well, right from the garden right to the table.
Yeah, that's Anne's.
That's
She,
Sam's.
oh yeah.
So you don't go outside at all garden? Just that's what Anne does?
Yeah.
That's great. And in the family, like how many tomatoes do you
I'm too busy talking to guys like you to go out to the garden.
how many tomatoes do you grow? And do you grow strictly heirloom?
Well, you'll have to wait till Anne comes around, and I can ask her to share it with you.
Okay.
Oh, Anne, come join the party. That's great.
No.
So you don't get out there with her and get your hands dirty?
I leave that responsibility. She does a wonderful job with it.
That's great.
Now, do you go to the gym at all?
Usually not to the gym. We have some weights at home and a bicycle. Yeah.
So that's what you tend to do for your exercise and
Right.
movement. So my neighbor lived to 104 years old, and he goes, well, the newspapers interviewed him and go, how did you live so long? He goes, well, I did shadow boxing, knee bends, and I walked. That's what he said.
I have
Smooth.
I will share with you the oldest patient that I ever started with on this program was 87. And he was at 87, he was rather frail, and he had coronary artery heart disease, and he was told that he had to have bypass surgery. And he was convinced that at his age, and with as frail as he was, that it would kill him. So he decided that he wanted to go plant-based, and he came for counseling. And he was really quite wonderful. He would call every year or so. He'd call and say, he'd let us have a little report how he was doing. And last year when he called, he asked to speak with Anne, and because he wanted to have about as many recipes as she could find, because he wanted to have a party with different recipes. And she said, that's fine, we can take care of that, but what's the occasion? And he said, well, I'm celebrating my 100th birthday.
Wow.
And this year when he called us a couple months ago, he just wanted to remind us that he was now 101.
Wow.
Now, do you think the body is made to, everybody should be able to live to 100, but our lifestyles kind of change that going backwards?
Well, it is. I think it is. The life expectancy in the last year, for the first time in some time, has decreased. Now, I don't know that how long people were designed to live, but obviously, if you take good care of yourself, you have the greater chance of being in the group that is going to have a longer life. But for me to say that everybody who was ever born has a expectancy of 120 years, that would be a bit of a stretch. I think we need more what we call in science, we call hard data. And I don't think we have that yet. But I think that there's no question that more and more people would live to be 100. For instance, if you look at what is called the blue zones, that Dr. Buettner has reported on, there seems to be a much greater concentration of people who have lived to 100. And they have a life that seems to be rather tranquil, a lot of sort of interaction between people helping each other. there's very little. There seems to be very little in the way of what we would call stress, and they tend to be focused on plant-based nutrition, although they are some that sneak in a little meat. But so I think that to get the most out of your personal life expectancy is to obviously eat a diet that is going to make you a favorable candidate for that.
Now, how long sorry, Joe, when you have somebody come to you and they say, hey, I've got to have a bypass or a stent, and you say, okay, we're gonna want you to eat to plant-based, you give them all the guidelines, and how long before you start to see that shift? Is there ever a period when you're worried that they might actually have, it might be too late?
Well, you're always concerned, because obviously advanced heart disease is a serious illness, but it's really quite striking how rapidly some of the endothelial turnaround can occur. For example, there are some pictures in my book of what we call a PET scan. A PET scan is able to show the areas of heart muscle that are receiving their due supply of blood, or where they are not getting their due supply of blood. And we have found that in as early as 3 weeks, some of those areas of heart muscle which are deficient in the blood supply can be restored literally within 3 weeks of plant-based nutrition. Pretty exciting. I mean,
that's amazing.
The way the patients the way the patients notice it clinically. Let's say, for example, when they first come, they walk 2 blocks and they begin to feel chest pressure. Not infrequently, but after they've been on the program for 4, 6, 8, or 10 days, they now have to walk 6 or 8 blocks before they get chest pressure. Why? Because they're improving. And it's such an absolute powerful message to the patients that what they are doing is turning it around. Whereas all the drugs they were on were just of no benefit in terms of reversing the disease.
Is that, I would assume that you probably don't prescribe statins for people.
Well, no, I try not to get in a wrestling match with, there's just no benefit to my trying to drive a wedge between any of those patients and their physicians back home, because their physicians back home often are really quite caring and well-meaning. And I'd have to say that over the last 34 years, I have yet to receive a phone call or message from any of their physicians saying to me, Dr. Esselstyn, how dare you teach my patient the healthiest diet on the planet? They just aren't delighted because they don't have to do it. And the reason they don't succeed, it's how they articulate the message. If you're going to give them a 10 or 15 minutes in the office, you're not going to get a successful result.
Have you had these doctors come to you and say, teach me?
Several.
If they're smart, right?
They're smart.
Well, my friend Kim Williams, who's a former president of the American College of Cardiology, is famous for saying there are 2 types of physicians: those that are plant-based and those who have yet to read the literature.
Interesting.
Now with males, their testosterone is supposed to go down over time. Now going on a plant-based diet, do you see it go back up? Does it stay stable with testosterone? How does that all work?
It varies with a number of things. Yeah, certainly if somebody is exercising regularly and eating regularly, they're less likely to have their testosterone plummet, but it does decrease as one becomes more senior. Right.
Okay. Now, how do you encourage to stay on it?
I would imagine it's sorry.
Some people some people might go all in with everything on a diet. They're all in, then all of a sudden you know what, maybe I could have a burger, or maybe I could have, I don't know, toast. What do you say?
I say just read chapter 5 in my book entitled Moderation Kills. That's what happens. I mean, yes, it has happened. Sure, we've got patients that go out 5 years. They're absolutely no longer have any discomfort or pain. Their symptoms have disappeared. And they say to themselves, my God, I've cured myself. And they start to drift away. And then suddenly, oh, the chest pressure begins to come back or something. So, but fortunately, that's very infrequent, because when you think about it, anybody who has a brain in their head, who knows that this disease doesn't only affect the heart, it also goes up into your head as well. If you've had a heart attack, and now you suddenly know how you can be empowered to stop it from ever coming back again, why would they ever come up to me and say, Dr. Esselstyn, that was really very interesting, but I really enjoyed my first heart attack. I think I'll go out and destroy some more endothelial cells so I can have a second one. And what, has anybody got a brain in their head? Why would they do that? It happens, sure. People are people, but not when 90, as I told you, 90% in a review of some 200 were sticking with the program.
Yeah, I think it's when people get into that crisis and then they finally decide to do something, we just need to get more people to do something before they get to the crisis.
Well, they're not getting symptoms yet. You can always get a CT angiogram or a calcium score, which is a simple test that'll show. And when they suddenly see they've got coronary artery disease in their coronary arteries, yeah, or they've got if you look at their carotid arteries going to their brain, if they've already got some stenosis and narrowing there, why would they want to hasten along any vascular dementia?
Yeah. So what would be you mentioned the calcium score, and then I've heard heart scans. What's really the safest way to determine the risk at this time?
There's kind of a toss-up between a CT angiogram and a calcium score.
And so you say angiogram, is that invasive or no?
Well, a CT angiogram, let's say you take a vein in your arm, you inject contrast dye into the vein in your arm and time it so that when it's going through the arteries in your heart, you get the pictures of your chest, all right? And then you can get an idea of whether or not you've got some degree of narrowing and blockages.
So which one would you choose?
Either one. I don't have a preference.
The heart scan or the CT angiogram?
I don't have a preference.
Okay, but where did the calcium score come in? I think that's where I got. That's where I was asking, because I've heard all three of those, but so you're saying you could just pick one and be okay with that?
No, it'll show you if you've got disease.
Right. No, I meant you would feel confident if you just chose one of those to figure out your current risk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, with eggs being an animal protein, that's a no-no, correct?
Joe, where have you been?
I've been. I'm just putting things all through my mind. I know it's all no. I'm just trying to.
Well, I guess that given that, so what would be if we talk about supplementation and B12? So I know that's probably the biggest
take B12
criticism.
If you want to check your D, you can do that as well.
Okay. And so so you're okay with B12 from animal sources in a supplement form then?
I'm not going to, yeah, I'm not going to.
Okay. But supplementing with B12, you recommend that. Okay.
Now, doctor, what do you drink besides water?
Well, the trouble with drinking juices is that obviously you're getting too much sugar, right? Yeah. But no, I pretty much stick with water. I'm just trying to think. There are some drinks that you can purchase that are made up of organic kale, organic turmeric, organic. No, a whole bunch of organic grasses and leaves make up these green drinks. They can be extremely healthy. Yeah.
And then what have you found? You're probably familiar with the oxalates. So if someone has an issue with oxalates and then they start eating greens, have you seen them?
Oh, I haven't seen that be a problem. But on the other hand, if they have calcium, if they're making calcium oxalate stones, go to the literature, look up the vegetables that are low in oxalate, and that'll be the ones you want. Yeah.
Okay. So it's usually they get into their green smoothies that gets them into trouble.
So where should you get your calcium from?
It's pretty hard. My good friend, Dr. John McDougall, pretty well indicated it's almost impossible to be calcium deficient. If you're eating all the usual green leafy vegetables and so forth, calcium is pretty much so omnipresent that that's not the cause of what really is the cause of osteoporosis and osteopenia, right? The bones love stress, right? Not walking. I mean, walking is fine, but it's not going to give you the stress. But there are studies that show whether you're doing lunges, whether you're doing deadlifts, whether you're doing squats, there are studies that show that will strengthen you. Your bone responds to stress. When you do those exercises, you got all this stress going down through your dorsal spine, your lumbar sacral spine, your pelvis, your femur, and your tibia. In other words, the whole body is feeling this stress and responds by laying down bone. An example would be if you have a woman who married at 24, 23, and has her first child and she's now 180. Next child, she's 210. Next child, so she ends up after 4 children at age 40 with about, 250, 260. But all that weight has scrubbed the articular cartilage off her knees. So she goes in and gets a knee replacement. And while the orthopedic surgeon is sawing through the bottom of the knee to put in the replacement, he breaks his saw 5 times. Why? Her bone is like iron. Why? Because she's been carrying all that weight on that femur, for 10 or 14 years, and her body responds by strengthening the bone. Now, I'm not suggesting you go out and gain to 240 pounds, but you get the idea that you can do it with lunges and deadlifts and squats. It's the weight that is the key.
I assume that through your program, you have meal plans laid out for people that make it pretty simple.
There's. I should have Ann, can you come over here a minute, please?
We don't have a exact meal plan.
No, I don't have. But you have. We don't have so much of an exact meal plan, but in the 3 books.
Rip does. Rip does.
All right.
Rip does. Okay. We'll check Rip's books.
But there are going to be hundreds of recipes in the Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease cookbook, and their most recent one, Be a Plant-Based Woman Warrior.
Oh, I've not heard of her.
Huh.
So this is what's interesting to me is growing up, my mom was dubbed a health nut. So we had Dean Ornish and McDougall's books and a lot of what we did growing up. This is why I was wondering what your backstory was. Was there any, with your dad being a doctor, was there any teachings like that? Because that's
no, my dad was terrible. He had his first heart attack when he was 43. Yeah.
Yeah. And then did he ever did he ever change his lifestyle? Was there ever any?
No, he died before I really was getting data.
Okay. Yeah, that would have been pretty cool if we could have gotten him into this world before he passed away, huh?
Yes.
I mean, he was young, wasn't he? Was it?
Oh, he's in his early 70s.
Yeah, that's young. That's super young.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Now, for a person that they're on this diet and they get really, really tired, it's because they're not eating enough.
And then have a larger portion. I mean,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I tell my patients. Just eat more of what I tell you to eat. Don't go to the Snickers bar. Just eat.
Is there situations when they're on blood thinner if they have any kind of conditions on a plant-based diet?
I need a little more precision in the question.
Are you thinking like with people who are on blood thinners aren't supposed to take like vitamin K, things like that? So
yeah. No. Yeah. Whenever that arises, that's just a physician who's not being very fair. That is, the physician who is monitoring. This is usually the case, with warfarin. That if you take too much vitamin K, you're going to increase the clotting, and you won't get the degree of anticoagulation that you're prescribed. And all they have to do is square yourself with a physician and say, look, I am going to be eating on a regular basis some of the most healthy foods on the planet, and I will need you to help me because I know you will appropriately adjust my dose of so that I still will achieve the degree of anticoagulation that we're seeking.
So people have to really become their own advocates with this.
Well, no, that is only if they've got doctors who are being a little stubborn.
Yeah, I think it's pretty common, or they're afraid to go and say something to their doctor.
Well, no, that's where we come in. You've got to give them the reassurance.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I think people will need that level of confidence to walk in and let their doctors know what they're doing.
Now with juicing, one of the things in the video, do not juice. Do not juice. Is it like one big whammy coming into your system just because everything's coming at you with juicing instead of eating?
And there's no problem eating an apple, an orange, and a banana because the fructose is bound to fiber and the absorption is safe and slow. But if you put the apple and the orange and the banana in the smoothie along with it to make it sweeter, and you beat it up, then you've separated all the fructose from the fruit, and when it goes into your stomach, it goes off like a rocket to injure your liver glycate protein and injures the endothelial cell.
And how about fasting? What is your recommend? Do you recommend people fast once in a while, or no, not at all? Or
there's increasing data coming along. I've not asked my patients to do it. Everybody, I suppose, to some extent, fasts from 6 o'clock at night if that's when they have supper until 8 o'clock in the morning when they have breakfast. That's a fast of 12 hours or more. But I've not specifically asked people to go on a fasting. I think that would make it'll be interesting to see when the studies, if they are studies, they come out. What I'm waiting for is to have patients seriously ill with heart disease be on a fasting program and show that they can do because you see right now, we've got a winner. We've got a program that works. And as I always tell people, the reason that my program works and others don't is nobody else is as mean as I am.
I find that hard to believe.
By that I mean I want to touch, dot all the T's, cross the T's, dot all the I's. Why? Because I don't want them to eat anything that's going to further injure an already train wrecked endothelium.
So can you talk a little bit about comparing to the Mediterranean diet?
Well, the Mediterranean diet is great. If you want it to this extent, if you want to slow the rate of progression of your disease, the Mediterranean diet will progress your disease more slowly than the typical Western diet. But that's hardly the answer for these patients. Why would you want to be on a program that makes your disease worsen slowly?
Okay.
In other words, the Mediterranean diet is a failure.
I can't agree with that.
Right. Why don't you have them do this? Show me the studies where patients are seriously ill with heart disease, given the Mediterranean diet, and they've arrested, halted, and reversed it. Show me the study.
Yeah, there's a few of them out there.
Right.
I will share. Yeah, I'll share some with you. But I mean, and also just that besides the studies, I'm on my way to visit relatives for Thanksgiving, and all of my aunts and uncles are in their 80s and late 90s, and they are living incredibly vital lives. So I live it. I'm Lebanese. We live the Mediterranean diet. But most of what we eat is plant-based with some meats and, olives and limited dairy. So it's taking what you're doing and then we add in some of those Mediterranean things in there. So yeah, I'm
Hey,
sorry.
look, it's America. You can eat any way you want to eat.
Yeah, no, we definitely don't eat the standard American diet. There's no question about that. That's a fast track to killing yourself.
Now with COVID, did anyone get COVID in your family during those rough times?
Everybody got COVID.
Yeah, I kind of figured it. Nobody ever wants to talk about it. I'm always like,
That's a great question. How did you support your health and your immune system during that time?
No difference. Well, that's not quite true. When it was really, we would avoid. For instance, I used to fly about 4 times a month. And once this happened for 3 years, I didn't get in on an airplane.
So just avoiding the hype.
Yeah, avoided crowds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And still we got it.
I think that's how a lot of people were, right? You just didn't know where it was going to be.
Yeah.
No, when
it was going to get you.
It's going to get everyone, right?
Yeah.
Got everyone, like Doctor said.
Well, now we got, we're in a world now where we're going to be surrounded by these viruses that are tough.
Now,
when you eat an arsenal of nutrients on hand for those events. Silver spray saved my life during COVID. So I was wondering if you did any like nasal washes or anything like that, gargling or anything.
No, we didn't.
When you eat a salad, do you put like balsamic vinegar on it? Like, what do you do with your salad? It's your typical salad with all your greens.
I'll have to. Ann, are you nearby?
Yeah.
I have a question about what do we do with our salads?
Like balsamic vinegars mixed with orange juice or grapefruit juice or none of that, just plain. You can put cheese, you can put turmeric, you can put ginger, you can put everything in there.
She's so passionate.
I still want to know what kind of tomatoes Ann grows.
What's the one? Oh, not Hawthorne. Not the nightshade. What's the dark one that I like so much?
Eggplant?
What?
Heirloom.
Heirloom.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Is it the purple one? Is
That's Cherokee purple.
Oh man, they're so good.
Oh gosh, yeah, I love those.
Yeah. And how do you keep I have a question for Ann. How do you keep the cabbage moths off the brassicas?
I don't.
Oh, they're horrible, aren't they? Oh my gosh. It's like they're perfect one day and the next day they're fully skeletonized by those darn things.
And how many tomato plants do you grow?
Well, It depends. Some years they're good. Some years, this year it was terrible.
But how many total plants do you grow for your family?
Not enough.
Do you preserve your food? Do you can everything or dehydrate?
Nope.
No, just eat it all.
Pasta sauce sometimes.
Yeah. That means you do need to grow more.
Yes.
I'll come and help you can. Love canning.
Now, do you guys eat hot peppers?
That's it. That's it.
You mean, what do you mean by that? Give me an
You don't
example.
like hot.
Like jalapenos, habaneros?
You know, a little.
You don't need too much.
It helps. You can avoid salt.
Now, one last question for me before I open it up to a couple questions in the chat. What do you guys eat on Thanksgiving? And who comes to Thanksgiving?
Plant-based.
Now, most of the people in your family now include all the kids and everybody is more or less plant-based. Is that
Oh,
correct?
yeah.
That's great.
They're so aware of the data. Ann and I feel that the greatest gift that we've given our kids is
Everyone is plant-based. 4 children, 10 grandchildren.
Oh my gosh.
Mashed potatoes, mushroom gravy, lots of stuffing. You can stick it in a pumpkin or something like that. Cranberry sauce, and then a vegetable salad. I mean, we have 43 people coming, and everybody's bringing something different.
Oh my gosh. Does everybody bring something or are you cooking for everybody?
Oh, everybody brings something.
Oh, thank God.
And I can only say that you just need to start.
Yeah.
No pussyfooting around. Just get at it.
Yeah. I love it. I love that attitude. I think that's so important, just to let people know, quit it.
And
Just
if you want
do it.
ideas, if you go to Jane Esselstyn YouTube, we have got thousands of 2-minute videos how to cook an onion without oil, and then almost all the recipes in prevent and reverse heart disease cookbook are there on that YouTube channel.
Jane
Mods, if
Esselstyn?
you can write that down. Can you post that in the link to Mods? I appreciate that. Thank you guys so much.
Okay, so I see a recipe for hummus. How are you making hummus without tahini?
you don't.
Well, you can, or you can certainly.
Yeah.
No oil.
And tahini
And
is
almost every hummus you look in the store has got both tahini and oil. If you want, you can. I mean, if you don't have heart disease, you can use tahini. I mean, if you don't have heart disease, you should eat nuts and avocado. I mean, kids and such.
Yeah. I'd say this Lebanese girl needs a little tahini in her chickpeas. So, but
Yeah.
I'm with you. I pour that oil off and I just go straight for the paste. Keep that oil out of it.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite thing for Thanksgiving? Like, do you have one go-to? Like, I can't wait to have my mom's stuffing. That's always been my past. Her stuffing is like, wow.
You've got to read ingredients and
Yeah.
see what's in things.
Yes.
If you don't read the ingredients, it'll never work.
But what is your favorite thing?
The worst thing in this world is the vegan junk food world. Forget it. Don't even look at it.
I asked that question earlier, is that I feel like as long as the food companies put plant-based on it, it gives people that license to think they're eating plant-based. It's terrible.
We'll find three different kinds of oil and 3 different kinds of sugars in something you wouldn't even think would need either oil or sugar unless you read the ingredients.
Well, and if you want to eat something that looks like meat, to me, I think it's probably healthier just to go get a good grass-fed burger and call it a day. Like, don't
try and eat like meat.
Right.
I mean, a portobello mushroom grilled can be very meaty.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try and recreate the meat world. You don't need it.
Yeah. Sadly, I think that that's I have so many people that are getting kidney stones from, but I'm plant-based, but I'm eating a Beyond Burger every day. Well, that's your problem, big problem there.
Read the ingredients, and the worst is the coconut oil, which is
Mm-hmm.
90% saturated fat, and it's in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Coconut oil. Coconut. Okay.
Okay.
One less.
Right.
Portobello
Thanks,
mushroom.
Ann.
Thank you.
Do you guys eat a lot of portobello mushrooms?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now the best burgers.
Yeah.
So all questions, make sure they're in all caps. I appreciate it.
Portobello mushroom burger. Woo!
Yeah, those are tasty. Those are tasty.
All right, guys. How many more questions you got?
I'm good for, and I think Paula might have a question or two.
I think we got through.
Good.
Yeah, did good.
I'm just asking quick in the chat, and we'll get out of here in a second.
In a second? Okay.
Okay, I guess. Okay, we hear you.
Second,
You're done. Yeah. Well, thank you, doctor. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Spend an hour and 15 minutes with us. That's amazing. And I might have to ask you some questions sometime on the side with my own health to get me going. But I'm good. I'm excited. I'm excited to get going.
You have to come to the seminar. You can call my secretary, and she does all the registration.
Oh, here's the one last question. There we go. As a diabetic, what do I do for low blood sugar?
Let me ask you, usually with diabetes, your blood sugar is elevated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, doctor.
If it's a diabetic with low blood sugar, it sounds to me like some of the medications that they're taking for their diabetes are a little out of control. And I think they ought to be in touch with their diabetic doctor and find out maybe they're being over medicated. But I wouldn't take it on anything that you're hearing here tonight. That all has to be really rather carefully scrutinized to find out, because without diabetic medication, usually the diagnosis of diabetes is made because of an elevated A1C or an elevated blood glucose. And if somebody is worried about being a diabetic and having a low blood sugar, something's got to be carefully scrutinized. And I'd go to your diabetic doctor and see if you can work synergistically in the spirit of cooperative endeavor with them to see if they can either appropriately adjust your medications and find out what's going on. Thank you. All right, you guys, it's been fun.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your
Thank you
time.
so
It was
much,
a pleasure
doctor.
to meet you. And thank you, Ann, so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. That's amazing.
Wow. That was incredible. He's like, I'm out.
Get him. Just for you guys in the chat, how old do you think Doctor is? Dr. Esselstyn? I just want to know.
I already dropped it earlier.
Well, I'm going to see if anybody else puts it in the chat.
Yeah.
Look at me dressed up.
I know. Everybody's like, Joe's all dressed up. You got dressed up for the occasion.
Got a wedding to go to this. There we go. Cheryl, 88. That is amazing.
Yeah.
He looks really good for 88.
He's 88, or I think he's 89.
89.
He's 89. Yeah.
89.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? I mean, you just heard the story and his all bio. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Pretty
almost
amazing.
like a different movie of Forrest Gump saying, hey,
Right.
you wouldn't know this
Yeah.
back then in 1922 and whatever. And, all the
There's so much there to unpack. Holy moly. Oh, we forgot to ask him about Kennedy.
Yeah, I forgot to ask him a lot of things.
Yeah,
I wanted to
I know.
probiotics,
Yeah.
a lot of little things. That was awesome.
That was great. I was going to ask him about the omega-3s, but I could tell he was like, right, he's like, I'm out.
Yeah, once you get a certain age, he's going to sleep good tonight.
Oh yeah, right. I know. Hey, so will I. I know. So will I. It's 8:20. I'm like,
I know. I'm looking myself on screen. I got 8 hours sleep since Thursday.
oh
So,
my God.
my eyes are starting to dwindle a little bit. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't wait to pass out.
Gil kept us on for a couple hours last night, so I'm like, I'm ready to conk out myself.
I get home My Fridays, I start the day. You have to be at work at 7, so I wake up around 5:45,
Ugh.
and I get home at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my gosh, that's
So
brutal.
I don't know
Yeah.
how I have this energy. I don't know where it comes from.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's the excitement of it. It's the excitement. Yeah. As his wife is, how old is she? Because she looks incredible.
I'm not sure. I don't want
I
to.
don't know. I feel like I have to look that up.
The energy level.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, geez.
I know, right? Yeah.
Feisty and energized, and no,
Yeah.
this is what we're doing. You know, this is how we're doing
Just
it.
get at it. Just get
Yeah.
at it, she says. I love it.
My wife's like that too, but
Is she?
different kind of
Yeah.
ways. Yeah. What are you doing?
Oh, that's awesome.
Just to let you guys know, there is no pierogi Monday. I got a lot of stuff to do this week. Get ready for my sister's wedding with work wise. So there is no pierogi Monday, but we are going to give out a ninja mixer. So that's a pretty cool thing to give away today.
That is a good one.
And we're just going to give one prize away, and because it's a great prize. And I'm going to order that on. If it's on sale now, I'll get it now. Otherwise, I'll just have to wait for Friday. So I got to make sure I look at that. But yeah, ninja.
Yeah, you're gonna have to change the name of Pierogi Monday.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I might have to change. I don't know what I'm going to do. I might not even have them take a break.
Plant Monday. Maybe you have to call it Plant Monday.
Yeah, my wife asked me. She goes, "Are you really going vegan?" And that's right. Her son Rip. Well, their son Rip. He doesn't say vegan. It's like a word. He doesn't want to use that word because once you talk about it, I don't want to listen. And if you guys check out that website, it is great. The foods, the desserts, and everything you guys can have.
Yeah.
It's like, let me see what. I got a question. Joe, have you heard from Scott rambling at the Brums? Yes, I heard Scott's message before the chat that he sent something with me with seeds and a cup, and U.S. Customs got it.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah, he's from Canada, Scott.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So
I watched a show called To Catch a Smuggler, and it's all about Border Patrol. It's really good.
If you guys have any questions for Paula in the chat, feel free to ask. Somebody could put Paula's link for her YouTube channel. She has, I think, 880 subscribers.
I think it's 881 now, maybe. Bill just commented. He likes Plant Monday, by the way.
Plant Monday, be something new. What do I do now? How is this?
Oh, I'm gonna change.
I have to do it. I have to definitely have to change my diet.
Yeah.
Big time, really fast. I got my son who's not in good health, and my wife, my mom, and if I don't take care of myself, I can't be there for them. So I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah. No, I think that's again, I am constantly advocating it. You have to create a legacy. So what do you want to leave your children? You're going to leave them money, you're going to leave them stuff, or do you want to leave them with the knowledge and the power to take care of themselves for a lifetime? Like that's what we know. That's what we want to leave our kids, is a legacy of health. So yeah.
So I just want to, whoever's checking out the channel, let me know how many subs Paula has on a channel and see if we could get her up to over 900 for tonight, or maybe more.
That'd be great.
So that'd be great if we could do that.
Yeah.
Paula's also going to do a 5-minute health segment on our Grow Big TV channel. So it's going to be on the vegetable.
I'm at 891 right now.
There you go.
Yes.
Let's get her. Come on, get her to 900. Let us know what you guys could do. Come on, you guys could do it. Let's go.
Like, oh yes, come on, you guys. Come on, push it. I just need 9 more. And then watch YouTube tomorrow. Go, no, she can't be growing that fast, and unsubscribe a bunch of people. I still feel like I owe you one on garlic, because garlic is so amazing. And I know you talked about garlic last week, so I think it definitely deserves a, yes, Kenny, yes. So I think it definitely deserves it some time. Because I think people underestimate the power that garlic can have on their health and their gut health, and how healing it can be. And then how to use it properly to manage their health. And what really is garlic? Does it come in a bulb or does it come in a jar? So your garlic should not come in a jar.
Garlic, yeah, exactly. Should come right out of the garden. That's where it should come from.
Exactly. Yes. 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 896. We're going up. You guys are awesome. Yes. Oh my gosh. We're gonna get to 900. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I feel like we need to be playing some like
we're gonna get over 900. Doctor, I think we're definitely gonna get over 900.
Oh my gosh. You know, my goal, I'm at 898 right now. My goal was 1,000 by the end of the year. So let's do this.
So how often do you use garlic in your meals?
Okay. Literally almost daily. So I'm laughing because I was in yoga today. And at one point we had to put our hands in front of our mouths, our lips. And I was like, I've had 3 showers, multiple hand washes, and it was and I had taken a shower before I went to yoga this morning, and my fingers still smelled like garlic. And I'm in yoga, and I'm like, why do I keep smelling garlic? I'm like, oh, your hands still smell like garlic from the day before. Yeah, from the day before. So, yeah, every day, and my phone always smells like garlic. Because if I'm cooking and then, somebody will call and I'll, pick up the phone or swipe on it or something. So I'll usually alcohol down my phone at least once a week to get the garlic smell. So every day I'm using garlic. Yeah. I know.
You know what's interesting when he said he just drinks water?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say squeeze a lemon and put it in water, because a lot of the people I talk to, that's what they do. And I'm surprised he didn't say.
What?
I'm just surprised he didn't say anything. He didn't say that.
Yeah, and he didn't say coffee. I'm not exactly sure what the caffeine issue. There's things that I'm like want to question, but again, just being respectful. Where I'm like, do you know the chemical process that decaffeinated coffee and tea goes through? Like, it's horrendous. So I know he's like, don't have caffeinated coffee, but you can have decaf coffee. And I'm like, whoa, like that's no. Again, one of my disagreements there. So, and I hope I wasn't disrespectful when I just said I disagree. Like, the Mediterranean diet stands the test of time, and these people have longevity. I mean, there's a blue zone over in Greece somewhere. One of them, I think. Let me see where it's at. And it's like he knows a lot of stuff. So I didn't want to be like, who's this young,
the whippersnapper.
Whippersnapper. That's what I was thinking of. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So what do we have for a count? Did we get the 900? Any update? Where are we at?
Icaria, Greece is one of the blue zones, and they do a lot of olive oil. And they do, Sardinia, Italy. They do a lot of olive oil. Those are all Mediterranean diets. And that's in the blue zone. So
that's really interesting what he said about oil, because I eat eggs all the time. No more. Mm-hmm. I guess I can't eat my eggs. I guess I save some money.
Yeah. Well, and the the cholesterol in the eggs, like, we need saturated fat. There is not fat in lettuce. I didn't want to say anything, but I'm like, there is not saturated fat in lettuce. There just isn't. So I kind of, yeah.
And guys, thank you for all the love too, for sharing this out.
That?
So thank you for everybody in the chat for sharing all this out. We really appreciate it.
When I had both of your channels running and mine running in separate tabs. So I had all 3 channels running. Well, I had Grow Big. Yeah, I had Grow Big, Garden State in separate tabs, and then I had mine going over here. Yeah. That was funny when Bentley knocked that. I'm like, really, Bentley knocked the and he goes, is everything okay over there? I'm like, the dog. Well, did you notice the B12 supplement when I asked him about that? He didn't want to answer that question. He said take B12, and I said, well, that's going to come from animal sources, and he said, I'm not going to answer that. So but then I said again, so you're okay with people taking a B12 supplement then? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's, it's kind of not. I'm certainly not saying that. Thank you. Another we have P cubed. Oh my gosh, we have P cubed. Paula, you have to come on the channel where is our other Paula? I think she disappeared. So there's me, and then there's our other Paula, and we're P squared, but now we're going to have P cubed. Kenny, we have P cubed.
See, what I like about doctors, everything he needs proof.
Right.
And that's how a doctor's supposed to be. He needs to have stats and everything. Sure. He needs everything there for him. Yeah. So it's not about, oh, I heard this, I heard that. I want to see stats.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And there's, then there's also the clinical, right? So he's just seen clinically how he's been able to save lives. And that's, that's amazing. I mean, that's really, and again, I was sort of like trying to take the temperature of what was happening, because, I wanted to ask him if he felt like this was a one size fits all blanket approach, which, it is, but again, based on his clinical evidence, he's seeing quite a, I'm at 900. Woo! So, but based on his clinical evidence, he's saved a lot of lives, right? So that's huge.
Yeah, with the water and the cucumber, yes. So yeah, Mama G, that's with the water and the cucumber, it's a lot of water in there. Look, coming to Greenstucker. Yahoo!
You guys are amazing. Thank you. I love you. Much gratitude. Tonight's live was all about gratitude, and super, super grateful. And I was saying, Joe, how I hung up the phone with you today. Joe and I did a little powwow on questions and how we wanted this to go. And I hung up the phone with you, Joe. And I literally smiled, and I just expressed so much gratitude for you. Oh, and I just thought, wow, it's incredible, because doing this YouTube thing, and I said, I come on every Sunday and these people just show up for me. Like, you have to have gratitude for that. And then in these people showing up, then I get introduced to you, and now I'm here. And so when I hung up today, I just kind of like smiled. I was like, wow, like just crazy, crazy gratitude. So thank you so much.
And just let you guys know, your name's going to be in this chat for a long time. Usually around 500,000 people will watch this live over time, and your names will all be there. Yeah. So this is, you got an icon. This is an icon. I'm just amazed that he came on.
Yeah, really that's incredible. That's incredible. Well, you've also inspired me to go big. There's some like, I'm going to see if I can get Terry Walls. There's, oh gosh. I started keeping a list. Now I lost the list, but, it's, yeah, we're going to go big. We're going big. Let's do this. So, I'll start reaching out, and it'll be pretty cool. So.
Thank you so much, Gil. I really appreciate those super chats. Thank you guys so much. And I don't know if anybody went to PayPal or Venmo or anything, but if you did, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys all being here and living and learning. That's the way I look at it as.
Mm-hmm.
We can learn so much if we just listen instead of having just listen. Just listen. You could disagree with everybody, with any.
Right.
You could disagree with this whole lot, but if you could put something in your pocket and go, "Hey, that's very interesting." Fluoride. Who knew eating lettuce in your mouth and having that in your mouth would do so much benefits just by being there?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have fluoride, toothpaste, mouthwash, everything that you did, it's gone. It's out the window.
Gum. Stop chewing gum. Stop eating mints. Those little Listerine paper things that you put on your tongue, like all of that ruins the biome in the mouth, and it stops nitric oxide nitric oxide forms in your mouth. And then actually I did a whole thing with this dentist on erectile dysfunction and nitric oxide. And that when you lose it in the mouth, it doesn't get down there. So it starts here. So it's really, nitric oxide is incredible. So that was, pretty cool as far as just chew it. And we've never used fluoride toothpaste. We're an anti-fluoride house.
So important. And it's so important down there.
Yeah, I know. Well, and interesting, it can be an uncomfortable conversation, but listen, guys, that is literally your litmus. That's your measuring stick of your health. And if things aren't working there, that is global. Yes. Yeah, if things aren't working down there, there's a lot of things wrong in your body metabolically. So you have to pay attention to that. And it is not going to be solved with a little blue pill. Get to the root cause of that.
Oh, and for those guys, I seen coconut here. If you had coconut water, that's actually very bad for you. It's a 50% of its sugar, I think. It was really insane the levels, how bad coconut. Everybody's going, oh, the newest benefit, have coconut water. It's the best for you.
Yeah.
And you look at the ingredients.
Yeah. Although you mentioned that to me earlier today, and I have to admittedly say, so I buy this stuff from Whole Foods and it's called coconut nog. And it's literally just straight up ground coconut with distilled water. And then it has nutmeg and cinnamon in it. And I just pour a little glass of it when I get home from yoga. And oh my God, it's intoxicating. Yeah, I'm kind of addicted to it. So
2%, which is one of my most awesome supporters for the longest time. Since I got on YouTube, she goes, my mom has gallstones. Is there anything that can dissolve them?
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a total gut. That's total gut. So, there's so much going, you can't just, oh my God, yes. It's sort of you can't just say, let's fix the gallbladder. There's so much that needs to be fixed there. So there's, probably not enough stomach acid, number one, because if you don't have enough stomach acid, you can't process your food properly. And you guys, I did a live last Wednesday all on probiotics, and we talked about gallbladder and gallstones and how to help manage those. So yeah, if it's a gallbladder issue, it's usually multifactorial. So gut testing, gut repair, killing bad bugs, bringing in good bugs.
Oh, definitely. Let me see. I'm not sure what this was referring to, but Jeannie,
how often?
She said how often and how much.
I'm looking back to see what was.
Oh, Joe Serrano. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Joe, so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Every little thing helps with postage.
Nice.
You guys don't understand how much postage is from just doing seeds. What is it, 63 cents now for each stamp?
Oh, wow. Is
and
it?
Then you add to that with how many seeds, just seeds I send out. It's insane. And everything else. So every little thing that somebody donates, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much with that.
I love it. What a great community.
Yeah, for a second I thought it was $100. I'm like, oh.
I did too. I was like, whoa, wow, that's awesome.
I did get a couple of really good super chats in the past. And
that's awesome.
What a blessing.
You have to tell me how to set that up. I don't know how to set that up. It'll be my next layer.
I know, Dark Lord meant it, not 100, Joe. Guys, I'm appreciative for the little things. I appreciate you guys being here first and foremost. I'm just saying, when money comes in, it does really, really help. I give everything I can to help people. Just not with what I do here, but when I was coaching, it's pretty extreme. I paid one kid to go to a Minnesota wrestling camp, and it cost was over $3,000.
Wow.
Did I have 3,000? No, but I kind of worked my way for a whole year to get this kid to go to wrestling camp. I sent
awesome.
4 kids to a 10-day camp in Arizona. And guess what they caught when they were there? Well, everybody at the camp did. Noro.
Noro. Oh, my God.
And that was at Arizona State University. So wow. I think it was where the Arizona Cardinals they have practice, their first practice. Well, they had to close down a whole entire thing. So my kids made it to 2 practices. That was it. And the refund was like $40 per person.
Oh, my gosh.
Person. It was like a total waste. So
that's too bad.
I help out as much as I can in a lot of things.
That comes back to you, that comes back around for sure. Think about how you change those kids' lives. Like that's the whole thing, right? They're what they remember about you and how you impacted them, and then what they're going to pay forward in the world,
Scott's my brother from Canada. That's why I refer him. Oh, Alaska 25, sign up. I'm still working towards that. My wife actually yelled at me the other day. Hey, are we going on a cruise yet? Are we going on a cruise to Alaska? So, Paul, you might not know, but Ramble with the Brums, he's getting together a lot of people, and the more people, the cheaper the discount.
Oh.
And we're going to Alaska. So I'm going to Alaska. It's in 25.
That's amazing.
And
he was on here last week talking, wasn't he?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, I caught that. Okay, I caught part of it. Oh my gosh, that's going to be amazing.
Totally amazing. We're trying to get the whole family to go, but there's so much stuff going on right now. It's just you can't pull a plug. I'm trying to get the commitment from everybody, and we might not be able to do that. So we might just put the money in and start paying. Let me see. So what do we have for Paula's channel? We get to 1,000.
We're at 902. I know. Let's get to 1,000. Yes, 1,000. Gil, did they take your wrench away off of my channel? Why's your wrenches keep getting taken away? Are you not playing nicely in the sandbox?
Took away from both. Took away from both channels.
Took my wrenches away from both channels. I don't know if that is your both channels or if it was my channel or can't.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I click on it here, it doesn't. Let me see if I do something on my phone.
It's not coming up in my feed, so it must be on your channel.
So thank you guys. We still have 61 people in the chat. I appreciate you guys. That's really
amazing. Do. That's awesome.
And that doesn't take away Facebook that some people are on LinkedIn. People are on.
Yeah, I streamed over to Facebook.
And there's people on Twitter right now. So that's pretty cool. So thank you guys, everyone, for coming.
You're streaming to LinkedIn, you said?
Yes.
Oh, very cool. I should stream to LinkedIn then. Do you get a lot of traction when you stream to LinkedIn?
I'm just starting. I'm just beginning. I'm making. Okay. That's where a lot of my connections will be starting to come from.
Yeah. No, it's a great idea.
And so that's going to be the new thing in the next generation for if you guys want social media is LinkedIn. 903. Mm-hmm. Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So if you are if you have your own channel, that's the way to go. It matters how high of a guest you want. I have asked some other people, and if that ever comes, and I told Paula who I asked to come on my channel, and if that ever comes, oh my God. You know who I'm talking about, right?
I forgot who you told me.
Okay, that's good. Okay, not alone then.
Yeah, I have to think about it now. Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. 903, Kenny. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Is there any
Yeah,
other
that would be
questions?
incredible. Well, like I said, you've inspired me. I'm gonna go big. Yeah, it's amazing.
Go big.
Yeah,
Thank
go
you so
big.
much, Denise.
Share
Thank you.
those
Thank you. Thank
audiences.
you.
Yeah. What did you guys think of Dr. Esselstyn? And to your point, Joe, yeah, I think that was like you could sit and, you could agree with some of or you could agree or disagree with things that he was saying, but are you able to take the good things that you agree with? That he had some really great insight. And of course I love when Ann said, just get to it. Like this. Get to it. Do something, right? Don't quit sitting around and complaining about your health. Do something.
Don't waste it. It's all going to be gone before you know it. So
Yeah.
do something with
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
So Scotty coached 33 years of
Wow.
youth coaching. And you know what? When we still talk about it today, when I talk to somebody I graduated with, and you talk about your coaches, those
Yeah.
youth coaches are always in the conversation because you
Yes.
learn so much from them.
Yeah. They have such influence, right? Such positive influence.
I'll be the first linky there, Joe. Let me see if there's anything else in the chat before I go to the wheel. And thank you for all the mods for keeping us safe. Today was there was not one problem that I saw in the chat. Thank you guys for protecting this channel. That is huge. Just the more, right now it's people going into people's chats and, being a problem. Thank you guys for keeping us safe here. So I don't see any other questions, do you?
I don't.
And did you guys have any other questions in the chat about doctor or anything? I mean, we stayed on. This is my notes. So I just keep on coming. This is what I had.
Oh, you're hilarious. Okay, I have 2 pages. But I did bookmark some things on the computer. Yeah.
And so when we started, we're like, this is going to bounce all over the place.
Yeah.
It's going
I
to bounce.
feel like it kind of did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he
did exactly also what I thought he was going to do. Remember how I said, I feel like he's going to, because I watched several videos of his and he gets onto this one narrative path and he did it. He gets onto this, when he starts talking about his thing, he's done it so many times that he just goes off on it, which that's exactly what he did. So.
And I just noticed my jacket is really tight on me.
Is it?
I look like a box cut. I look like a box. Oh my God.
That was a Chris Farley. What did he do? That Chris Farley skit from years back.
Terry said intermediate fasting. My son is a big fan, and he has a channel. So check out
that's
Terry.
cool.
If you want to post his link, feel free to post his link.
Yeah, I mean, intermittent fasting is, I think it's helpful for people. So I fast, but it's one of those things that is it for everybody? And you can't just like go full bore into it, because you could get some blood sugar issues, which then means you probably should fast. Like you have to find your place. And that, again, you'll never hear me say there's a one size fits all approach to anything. People always like, what do you think of this diet? What do you think of that diet? And I'm like, it depends on you and your hormones. And are you male? Are you female? What are your issues? So you really have to find something that is right for you, which I can help guide you to that place, but I'm never going to tell you to only do one thing. So that's just whole the intermittent fasting thing. So I love fasting. It helps me it helps maintain my body weight. It helps me control my eating, which I'm not an out of control eater, but and it keeps your blood sugar. So instead of there was a school of thought way back when where you had to always keep your blood sugar like this, so you always remember the whole grazing, you should eat 6 small meals instead of 3 big meals, or, and so what that actually did was that actually throws off your glucose, your blood glucose. It throws off your pancreas. Your pancreas is overworking. It's constantly having to pump out insulin. So fasting actually allows your body it allows the pancreas to rest. And then you get autophagy, which means your body's then going to eat up all the garbage, get rid of that. And then you can kind of start the metabolic ball rolling again the next day. And keeping muscles makes you live longer. Yeah.
There you go. Look at those
Right?
muscles.
Yeah. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Lift, push the weights, lift. And especially if you are a woman, get in the gym. And even Dr. Esselstyn, he's like, walking's okay, but the woman who kept gaining weight, like, do you need to push those weights for the bone density? That is what's going to build your bone density as you get older.
You know what's funny? When I said Esselstyn and I got tongue tied,
Yeah.
I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me.
Yeah, I know. You kept saying
know
it too. You kept
And we
saying
talked about that. And I'm like, I'm going to say
Yeah.
it and it's going to get tongue tied. And I
Yeah.
did. And I'm like,
Yeah.
come on.
I know. I think he just gave up after a while. Yeah.
So breakfast is called breakfast because it's sleeping between dinner and the first meal of the morning.
Yes. Breaking the fast. Yeah. Break the fast.
Oh, thank you, Green
Look
Stalker.
at that.
Do I look sexy?
I know. I feel like, did you even get a haircut too? Because you're looking all, yeah.
I had to get it ready for the wedding.
Oh, there you go.
I think I would have got it before this anyway.
You have a wedding tonight?
No. I had to see if it fit. So I'm trying on things and I'm like, hey, you know what? Let me go see if it fits for next week. So I'm Chris Farley in a jacket. You got to see me dance.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
You gotta wait till you see me dance. And Scott, thank you so much, Scott. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super chat.
Explain the fruit.
I'm trying to think what that was too.
What's that?
I'm thinking what they said, what she meant to that. Like what did that bounce off?
Yeah, I don't remember. Was it something in the chat?
But you know what? That's really interesting about mixing fruits and making a smoothie, or not a green smoothie, but a fruit smoothie with the sugars.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I have a lot of patients that I work with who have oxalate issues. And if you guys don't know what that is, oxalates are little crystals that form from plants and certain foods. And when our bodies can't get rid of them, they precipitate out and they go into the brain and they cause brain fog and anxiety and depression, or they go into the joints and cause joint pain. Literally, like, people think they have Lyme disease. They can cause chronic migraines. They can cause gut issues. It can cause, disrupt a woman's cycle. Oxalates are really evil. And one of the biggest, clues, like if somebody's really not feeling well and then they go, but I drink my green smoothie every day. It's like, ooh, ding, 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 ding. They probably cannot process oxalates. So but that would be like, so if you're eating the greens, same thing, you're going to get the fiber. It's going to be a slower processing of the oxalates, but if you're juicing that and drinking it, holy moly, that's going to throw you into a tizzy.
Now, what did you think about coffee with caffeine? Because you notice everything today is about caffeine. You go to a store, you go to kids, everything with kids today is caffeine.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and that's what I was saying too. I was like, caffeine is, all right, caffeine. When you wake up in the morning, you have all your sleep hormones. So your cortisol starts to rise in the morning, and then you have this, it's called adenosine. Yes. So adenosine and other sleep hormones, and that's supposed to go down so that when you wake up, so cortisol comes up. So we want cortisol to rise, right? If you drink caffeine too early in the morning, it can actually block adenosine from leaving the body. The problem with that is that then when the caffeine wears off, you still have the adenosine, which makes you sleepy. So then you can get that mid-morning crash, and then you can go back and drink, you a couple hours later, be like, oh, I need more caffeine. And you don't stop drinking the caffeine. If you can wait 30 to 60 minutes after getting up, I know it's hard. The adenosine will naturally leave the body. Then you can have your caffeine, and caffeine has actually been shown to have like good health effects, like help boost your energy without blasting out your adrenal glands. So that's sort of a long way of saying, yeah, caffeine's it's not totally evil. And then, but that's when I was saying that he's recommending that you drink decaffeinated coffee, and the decaf process is about as horrific as how we produce seed oils. They use all kinds of horrible chemicals. So I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't drink decaf coffee. I mean, if I had to, maybe, I don't know. I don't normally drink decaf coffee. So for a lot of that reason.
So welcome in Bruce Cook. If anybody just came on and chat, go check out after you watch this live, the rest of this live, go back and check it out.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Sure. Go back and watch. And absolutely, you can lose muscle if you stop. For sure. It's like anything. You got to build the muscle, right?
If you notice those football players that weigh 250, 260, then all of a sudden they stop working out. The next year they're at 190 pounds.
Yeah.
Because they just stopped working out.
Yeah, you have to keep it. And it's hard to put on muscle. It is really easy to put on fat. It's very hard to put on muscle. So you have to, commit. I don't do anything crazy. So, people ask me, what's my workout regimen? I'm like, I go to the gym twice a week. I do yoga twice a week. I walk the dog several times a week. So that's really it. And I only lift weights for like an hour twice a week. So when I'm at the gym. So you don't have to do crazy things. You don't have to spend hours and hours in the gym. You just need to get in there, push weights that challenge your body. Don't just be like 10. Okay. And then you're on to the next. Yeah. You're not going to have gains with that. So
SoundQuest Rob, I'm under Grow Big TV with Joe and Corky.
Oh, on
LinkedIn.
Okay. I have to go follow you guys.
Because that's where I'm trying to make a new mark. I'm not just it's more about the channel, not me. Let's see what else I have here. So I'm just going through the chat quick. There's Bruce Chick, FR. Oh, guys, thank you everybody for coming. There's no way I could welcome in everybody during a channel. Maybe before the chat starts, I could. And I try to do that each time. But once a thing like interview starts, it's full go. It's full go.
Yeah, you got to pay attention to your guest for sure.
And once you
could tell he wasn't the guy who was going to sit around and wait for anybody to.
I noticed when I just started doing introductions, he's like, "Come on, let's get this going here."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I totally get it. Misha, thank you. Thank you all you do yourself. Okay, hold on. I think this is the first live streaming call. Oh, okay, Bruce, you made it in. I think it is too, actually. You might have made it to a Pierogi Monday one time. Bruce grows the greatest hot peppers. He's a hot pepper guy.
Who is it?
Bruce Cook. And if you guys haven't, thank you, Jane Doe. Jane Doe's been posting.
The hot pepper guy you had on a few weeks ago?
Oh, no, this is somebody different.
Okay.
That was Batman.
Oh, okay.
And I still can't believe that happened. Two things in a row, the echo. I was like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
I was so hoping when he came on, I'm like, no Android, no Android, no Android. So I'm looking to see if there's any other questions. Thank you, guys. That a lot of people just started coming in. Somebody post a link for Paula's channel again, guys. I appreciate it. So a lot of people are still coming in to chat.
Nice.
Which is awesome.
So, yeah, I'm trying to... What's that?
Gil posted 9:04.
Nice. You guys are so amazing.
So I'll show you what I'm giving away today. Let's see if it shows up.
Oh, nice.
That's so awesome. Right here, the Ninja I believe it's this one. Oh, no, I think it's one of these. And it's
Nice.
just a blender. I'm not giving you all the attachments and stuff. That's pretty nuts. But Ninja blenders you can use with everything. And so you guys, you got to buy all attachments yourself. I'm trying to find out which one it is.
Pretty durable.
So that's what I'm giving away. It's one of the best blenders you could buy. Now, Paula, tell everybody what blender you use and how long it's been.
Oh my
You've been
gosh.
using it.
I'm on my second Vitamix. So I bought my first Vitamix about almost 20 years ago. And that thing is amazing. And it's actually still alive. The only thing that broke was the bottom of the carafe just stopped turning. So if I buy a new carafe for $150, I actually could have 2 Vitamixes. That motor is 20 years old and still going strong. But I was like, I kind of just wanted a new one. So I did. I got a new one. So I think I'm going to take that. I think I'm going to get a new carafe and then take that one to the office because I do smoothies at the office all the time. But yeah, I mean, it's, it's $500-$600, but that thing, 20 years old. I mean, and it's a workhorse. I mean, and the new ones you can grind grains in them. You can, I've done, you can put nuts in and make nut butter, which, Dr. Esselstyn isn't a fan of, but okay. So.
That's funny. Where to begin homestead goes. I don't even have a blender.
Yeah.
And Tom.
Got a Vitamix. Yes. Or Win Joe's Ninja. Yeah. Hi, Tom Garvey.
So Tom's
Ooh, nice. Yeah. Okay.
Tom, I bet you Tom wanted to go at doctor. Tom used to live right near me.
Oh, nice.
And now I believe he's in Las Vegas.
So I'll have to come back tomorrow and go back through and to some of these pages because I can't get to them from the chat in here.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the wheel. So there's only one thing tonight, guys, is the blender. That's it. If you guys want to, wrong one. If you guys want to win seeds, go to my 2 other channels. We give out seeds every single day. So you have 2 chances to win free seeds out. And usually I put some extras in there, which is pretty awesome. Anything to help you guys grow. That's important to me.
I love it.
So here's the wheel. You got to be in the chat to win. If you are out of the U.S., I can see who could ship it because I'm not going to send it. I'm ordering right from the store. I got to beat the prices there for a little bit. Okay, I think I did this enough. Let's see who's going to win. Good luck, everyone. Good luck. Huge gift today. Check out Grow Big TV. Tuesday, Michael Loves Farms, fucking mushrooms. We're fucking mushrooms on Tuesday.
Oh, I love that.
Lisa Ellison. You know how close that was to go? Congratulations to Lisa Ellison.
Woo! Wow, that's awesome. What a way to start the week. That's awesome.
And I believe Lisa is here. I hope she was. I think she was in the chat. Lisa, are you here? Look how close that was to Gil, too.
Oh, my gosh. Gil's
so let's see if Lisa is in the chat.
Lisa, are you here? Oh, my gosh.
We have a rule. You only have there she is. She's here.
Oh,
Lisa,
nice.
everybody.
Yay. Oh, my gosh. That's great.
Lisa, let me know where are you from? What state? You know, it's funny. When I was Ubering one night, I picked up somebody in 30 minutes away, and you can't really see anybody getting in your car, right? So they get in the car, and my mirrors, you can't really, until you really look at it. It's 3 o'clock or 3:30 in the morning. And I see the designation, Jackson, New Jersey. I'm like, yes, Jackson, right? That's where I live.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, look. Because you can't really see the address where it completes. You just go by steps and you see an arrow. I'm like, wow, he lives right near my house. I picked up my next door neighbor, and he had
Oh
no
my.
idea. And he had no idea it was me. And all of a sudden, I dropped him off. He had no idea it was me. I put him in his driveway, backed up, went in my driveway. I go, "Hey, how you doing?" And he's looking like, "What?"
That's hilarious.
So Lisa is from Georgia. So congratulations to Lisa.
Congratulations.
Now, I really want to do this again. Hopefully next year is I want to do Seed in a Month Club. And what I did my first year when I started this, all the money or most of the money I raised went for a big gift. And I gave a Huga Homestead won a $500 grow light thing. It was
Wow, that's
$500
awesome.
from burpee seeds.
Yeah.
And I hope I could do that again. And that would be that was pretty cool.
That
And
would
that's
be
the way I want to
amazing.
do big gifts. I don't have money, guys. I don't have no bank account. I have zero savings. I have nothing. So whatever I could generate in some kind of ways, I try to put it back to you as much
I
as I can.
love that. I love that. Which
Okay,
ultimately
guys.
comes back to you. So yeah.
Yeah, karma. Always believe in
Yes,
karma.
that's right. That's right.
So thank you guys. Try to come to our grow. It's going to be on Grow Big TV. All right. A little bit about so mushrooms, Michael Love Farms, and mushroom is the big thing right now. All those tinctures and everything involved with mushrooms, it's huge. It's the biggest thing in the health market right now, and it benefits.
I tried growing mushrooms, and I mean, I sell tinctures in my office, and I attempted to grow them. I'm fascinated with mushrooms, so I will be here. So
yeah, Hugo Homestead is here.
nice.
I need one last number before we leave to Paula's channel. One last number. Yeah, that was amazing. That was an amazing win. And we also gave away $400, and Andale Homestead won that.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
And she bought a computer with that.
Oh
So
my
that was
gosh.
cool.
Look at you just spreading good cheer.
Yeah. So the mushroom talk. So we're gonna have two. There's 4 owners, or co-owners, or founders, and 2 of the guys. We'll have 2 people on the live. One's coming from, I don't know where he's coming. He might be a little late, but the other guy should be there. And one of the other guys that can't make it is Jake Plummer. He was the NFL quarterback for. He was an All-Pro at Arizona.
Yes,
He's
I
one
know.
of the founders. So if you guys ever look at the mushroom trends, how it started, it's because of Jake Plummer.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And
wow.
So if you put those together, this is a big interview, another big interview.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. So, and what time is that?
7 o'clock. I try to do everything at the same time.
Okay, perfect. Awesome.
And if you want to do 5-minute health benefits on mushrooms, that's up to you.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, let's do it.
Okay.
I'll jump on and jump off. I'll be packing for my trip, but yeah, I'd love to. That would be amazing.
Oh, where are you going to before we head to?
Going to West Virginia to see my mid to 80s and late 90s aunts and uncles who are all living beautifully off of the Mediterranean diet. So
there you go. Okay,
yeah.
so you ended at 9:04. So thank you guys for helping.
You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you. This is insane. I'm super grateful to be here and to have been here to support you for this. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, everyone. There's still 70 people here in the chat. I feel like I want to keep on going, but
I
won't do that. It's Sunday, guys. It's Sunday.
I'm turning into a pumpkin.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you, everyone in the chat.
Right. We'll see you soon. Okay. See you. Bye.
Bye. Take care, everyone. Have a good one.